Well, hello. We are on day 150. It's a big day. We're starting the book of Esther, which is a great book. It's the only book in the Bible that doesn't list the name of God. Isn't that crazy? But God is behind the scenes, and that is just a great lesson. God is always behind the scenes, whether we see him or not. But we're going to read 4 chapters today, and they're pretty quick. It's a good story. It's a good storyline. This is Esther chapter 1. The king holds a big feast, a 180-day feast in Persia. And when the queen refuses to make an appearance, she's removed from her position. Advisors suggest that he get a new queen and prevent rebellion from some of the other wives that refuse to do what their husbands say. Sounds like a good idea. Then Esther chapter 2, we find out that a search is made for a new queen. And Esther, who is a beautiful Jewish orphan that was raised by her cousin Mordecai, is chosen. Nobody knows but she and Mordecai that she's Jewish. And Mordecai uncovers a plot to assassinate the king, reports it, and it saves the king's life. And all this is kind of behind the scenes, and nobody knows until it all comes out at the end. And you'll find that out as we get going. Esther chapter 3, there's a man by the name of Haman. He is second in command. He's promoted by the king. He hates Mordecai because Mordecai refuses to bow to him. So he not only hates Mordecai, he hates the Jews. So he plans to kill Mordecai and kill all the Jews in the Persian Empire. He casts lots, which is to determine when the execution date is going to be. And he gets the king's approval. And it's some time, but the king says, that's okay. You can kill them. He doesn't tell him who, but you can kill this group of people that are in the kingdom. And then in Esther chapter 4, Mordecai finds out about the plot, urges Esther to talk to the king to see if he can change some things, to do something. And she says, I can't. I'm not allowed to approach the king because I'll be killed. If I approach the king and he doesn't welcome me, I'm dead. And eventually, Esther agrees. And two famous sayings. Mordecai says to Esther, perhaps you've come to this position for such a time as this. And Esther, after thinking about it, she said, I'll go. If I perish, I perish. So here's some lessons from this. Good chapters. Number one, from chapter 1, pride and impulsive decisions lead to lasting consequences. The king just overreacted. The queen probably overreacted. They made a decision. Boom, they got to live with it. Human power and human ego is so fragile. And we just need to be careful about getting our feelings hurt and making stupid decisions over that. Another lesson from where Esther was, God positions his people for a purpose, even when it's not immediately clear. Both Esther and Mordecai were placed in positions for something that wouldn't come until years later. And we don't know why God puts us in positions, high or low, important or less important. God always has a plan, and we just need to trust him for it. Another lesson from chapter 3, evil advances quietly until it's confronted. Evil plots. Haman, he hated and he wanted to do the wrong thing. And we just need to realize that there is evil in this world that wants nothing more than to see good destroyed. And it can be dangerous, but it needs to be confronted. And it was confronted in this situation. And then chapter 4 reminds us about courage and faith to do what God wants us to do. Most of the time, this doesn't happen in our life, maybe once or twice. But every now and then, we need to have the courage to stand up and do what is right and trust God. Place our life in God's hands and see what he does. And maybe it is that in those specific times we are there for such a time as this. And I hope you realize that God has you where he wants you right now for this time. And God bless you in whatever decisions you make, that you make the right godly decisions. So enjoy